Hi guys, welcome again to my channel. Today we are going to do quite a long video. I want to give you an update on how everything is doing, and I also really need to put up my tomatoes, my dill, and I also need to start my nasturtiums, which I have been soaking here in water since yesterday. So I am going to put timestamps here on the screen so that you can either go to whatever it is that you want to watch, or I will really appreciate it if you watch the whole video. If you haven't subscribed, maybe today is the day. And if you have any questions, I will put links to the whole playlist of all of the videos that I have been making about starting plants from seed. And let's start. These are the tomatoes that I really need to put up. I have 6 plants here. These are the ones that I started to grow early. These are not normally how big I will have my tomatoes, all of my tomatoes by now. But these are the early ones that I wanted to try. These were started on the 14th of February, and they were started in smaller containers, and they were moved here later on, about 2 or 3 weeks later on. But my goodness, I think that they really need to be potted up. Let me show you. See that root system? They are ready to be potted up, and I'll show you how to do that here later in this video. These right here are my chaltepin peppers. I have some extra ones here. I think I have like 3 over here. I have a whole tray of these for my parents. These were started on the 10th of February, and I already pinched the top, basically just cutting a couple of leaves from the top to make sure that the plant bushes out. And let me show you the rest. Here are the rest of the chaltepin plants. Look at that. Look at all the bushiness that it's doing. It's just pushing out. And again, these were started on the 10th of February, and they were started in smaller containers. I think that I overseeded in just one single tray, and I moved them into this 2.5 inch. And since we have at least 4 more weeks to go, I am just kind of waiting on them to be potted up. Let me see if I can show you. The root system on these guys is probably massive. It's not bad. Look at that. It's even missing a couple of pieces of soil there. So it's not bad. They can definitely be here at least another week, if not 2 more weeks here. But they're doing great. They're doing amazing. Look at the bushiness of the plant. It has side shoots already, and those side shoots are having side shoots, so it's awesome. I have 32 plants here, and I think that I have 3 more on the side that I couldn't fit on this tray. But this whole tray, remember, is going to my parents. I am not keeping any for myself because these are way too spicy for me. And my goodness, I just love how well the plants are doing. Okay, so this right here is the dill that I started on the 2-inch soil blocks, and I started these guys on the 9th of March. And this is how much growth they have put in. So they have been here almost a month, you guys. A few days shy of a month, and they are looking amazing. I did have 4 seeds on each block, but I had to thin them out to 2 plants per block. I think that 2 plants is plenty for 1 block, and I definitely need to pot this up today. These right here are my beets that I started on the 23rd of March. They are going to go straight from these blocks. They're going to go straight into my raised garden beds. Maybe here in the next week or so, I have to gently get these plants outside so they can get acclimated. And they're doing amazing. I think that I had like a little bunch of 3 to 5 seeds per block. I will plant them just like that outside in the raised beds. And over here, I have a few vines. This one is a canary bird vine. And remember, in one of my last videos, I showed you that I was going to soak these for a few days and prepare the seeds so they can somewhat germinate. And they haven't done anything. I forgot to put the date here, but they have been here less than a week, and I don't see anything just yet. And the same thing with my snail vine that I got from Baker's Creeks, and nothing yet. Hopefully, fingers crossed, that I get some sort of germination there. These right here are my alyssum. I have some oriental night and some just white alyssum. I mix them. It really doesn't matter to me which color they are. Look at those. I started these in the 3/4 inch soil blocks, which are like the tiny blocks, and I moved them here and about a week ago or so. I started these guys on the 9th of March as well, and they are looking amazing. They love the cool weather, so here soon I'm going to start taking them outside as well so they can start growing and start doing even more amazing. This right here is my basil. I have purple basil and I have two types of green basil right here. I have Genovese and Mamolo, and they are doing just great. Look at all that color. And right here, these guys right here, these are the foxgloves that I started on March 7th. The basil, I started it on March 9th, so they have been here since the 9th of March. And my foxgloves, they're tiny, they're doing okay. Yeah, I had the seeds, so I just put them here. I wouldn't be heartbroken if they don't grow too much, but I'm giving them a chance anyways. This right here, I have quite a few things. So I have these straw flowers here that are trying to germinate in my 2-inch soil blocks. There is no germination just yet. I wonder if I should start a few more because they had been here since the 23rd of March. And today is April 4th, so I don't see anything yet. I don't think last year they took this long to germinate, but they can stay there. They can do their thing. This right here, hopefully you can capture it on the video. I have the tiniest little seedlings. These are mint that were started on March 23rd. And look at that. I have beautiful, beautiful germination going there. And at least 80% germination here going. My lemon thallium, I'll put the name on the screen. There's no germination whatsoever yet. And these right here are my white marigolds that I started on the 23rd as well. And I started them in the 3/4 inch soil blocks, and then I moved them into their big containers here as well. The reason why I didn't move them into the bigger soil blocks is because these guys were literally destroying the 3/4 inch blocks. So they were tall, they were huge, so I just buried them really deep in this 72 cell tray or the 6-pack for the 72 size, and I think they're looking great. They're looking really, really nice. Have a few more of the marigolds here. And if you are wondering, I do have my lights turned off for the purpose of the video because it's a mess. So right here, I have my chamomile that I started on the 9th of March. They were started in the tiny soil blocks, and they were moved into the bigger soil blocks, the 2-inch, a couple of weeks ago, and they're doing great. Look at that. I feel like these soil blocks, for some reason, are looking a little bit more crumbly than my others. I did the same thing. I did the same mix, same everything, and for some reason these don't look well as put together like the others. I don't know. These right here are my lemongrass that I started on the 21st of January, and they are doing just great. I love starting lemongrass from seed. I did way more this year than I did in the last couple of years. And they're looking great. I think they're going to have to be potted up soon somewhere, maybe in the 2.5 inch containers. I don't see any roots yet at the bottom, so that's a good sign. And these right here, these are my rosemary that I started on the same day that my lemongrass, the 21st of January. And they're looking amazing. They always grow a little bit slow. This right here, let me show you this guy first, are some snapdragons that I started recently because you saw my fiasco with my first batch of snapdragons that I did, they weren't really looking that great. In fact, they all died. So these guys, they germinated. So far they're doing well. We'll see how they do. I might actually take this tray outside and just let them grow in the cool. We'll see. These right here are some of my tomatoes that I potted up into the 2-inch containers, 2.5-inch containers from Bootstraps. These are my tomatoes. These are the rest of my tomatoes that I started way late. I believe I started these guys on the 16th of March. And I have different varieties. You can tell the shape of the leaves. I love seeing that. So some of them are growing, you know, slightly bigger and quicker than others. And I do have an extra guy there. I'm just gonna let it be. Look at this guy, it's a tiny one. This is a pink jazz tomato. And this right here is a big rainbow. Look at the difference in size. But they're doing great, they're doing amazing. And this is the dahlia tuber cutting that we took from the main tuber that we tried to sprout, and it's doing well. I don't see any roots developing just yet, but it's looking great, it's looking amazing. I keep giving it water here and there, and it's doing well. And these right here are just the rest of my tomatoes that I have. Like I mentioned, some of them are just going crazy growing, and some others are just, you know, taking their time. It's okay. This right here is a sun sugar. Look, I already have some roots at the bottom. And this right here is a purple rain. This is a short dwarf variety, so it makes sense that it's, you know, that it's just smaller. These right here are my Salvia, my Scarlet Sage Salvia that I started from seed, and I love how well they're doing. What I'm going to do, hopefully here when it grows a little bit taller, is that I'm going to pinch them as well so they can just have more shoots on the side and they can bush out a little bit more. But they are doing great, they're doing amazing. And I started these guys on the 24th of February. And I started them in the smaller size containers, and they were potted up here probably a couple of weeks later. They're doing great. These right here are my cannas that I started from seed, and they're doing okay. The seeds that I started right here, I only have 2 containers that don't have, actually that one has sign. I actually have 1 container that has no signs of germination. So out of the 12 containers that I started from seeds that I saved from my garden last year, only 1 didn't germinate, and the rest just doing amazing here. These right here are the ones that I started from the seeds that I purchased this year. The germination is not great. This is one kind, and out of the 8 seeds that I started there, only 4. So half of them germinated, and there's no signs on the others. And right here, I got 12 of these. These are the salmon ones. So these are my white, and these are my salmon ones. I have 4. Out of the 12, I have 4 plants that I started. Honestly, I feel like it's kind of late now to start more, but I want to try them because I normally like to have big cannas. But I have the seeds, so I might just try the rest of the seeds and see how they do. But if you remember, we scratch the seed and we soak it for a few days, and then we plant them here. And we put them on these containers. We put them in the soil on March 17th. So they have been here a little bit over 2 weeks. And this is how much they have grown. So maybe I will start more seeds because I definitely want more of these colors of cannas. Over here, I have more alyssum. I think this might be some of the rest of the white alyssum. They're doing amazing. And this right here, I also need to pot up. I'm not going to do that today because I'm just not gonna have enough time. But these right here are, I have 1 Bells of Ireland that is growing there. Tiny, but it's happening. Out of the 12 containers that I try, 1 is coming, so yay. Right here I have one Amidara out of the 6. It's not bad, but I do have 100% germination on the lace flower. I am trying 2 colors. I am trying chocolate, and then I am trying this lacy pink this year. These are the same that I had last year here, so I do have to pot this up. They already have the first set of true leaves, so I gotta move them into bigger containers. And I wanted to show you, this is the tuber that we took the sprout last week, and we took it from right here. But I just wanted to show you that some of you were asking if the tuber was going to keep on growing, even though we took the sprout, and yes, and you can see here, hopefully you can, that it has a tiny bit of a sprout growing there. And this guy, it has no sprouts just yet, but it has a bunch of roots happening. So I do have to move these guys into bigger containers as well so they can keep on going. And I have some Coleus over here. These right here are chocolate mint Coleus, and they are looking amazing. The roots are massive already. That's why it's hard to separate them. But look at those roots. I did move half of my Coleus into bigger containers. I didn't have the time to finish it all in one day, but I will probably at some point do this today. But these were moved into bigger containers, and let me show you those here in a sec. These right here, my gosh, I love these right here. These are the black dragon Coleus. Something is growing there. I don't know what that is. But look at the texture of the black dragons. They are like this rocky texture on the leaves. I just love that. So like I said, I still have to pot this up into their bigger containers. So these are the black dragons that I was just showing you, and I move them into their big containers, and they will stay here until they are ready to be taken outside. But look at the texture. That is just amazing to me. Gorgeous. So these are the black dragon, and over here I have a few of the mighty mosaic Coleus. Look at that. Look at the variegated leaves. I love this type of Coleus this year. I love them all, but I am just very happy on how they're doing. Like I say, they were started, the Coleus were started on the 3rd of February, so they're going slow. Coleus just likes to grow slow. My gosh, look at the color on those. All the Coleus and geraniums were started on the same day, the 3rd of February. Look at the geraniums, you guys. They're growing slow, just like the Coleus, but they're looking amazing, just amazing. Somebody asked me yesterday if, compared to other seeds, how easy were geraniums to grow. And honestly, I think they're really easy, but they just take time. So look at that. Just love these Coleus. And I just love this mighty mosaic Coleus here. These guys right here are wild. These are the Luffas that we put into this container the last time that I showed you. And yeah, they are, they're loving it here so far. I do have to make a trellis. I keep saying that I gotta make a trellis for these, but definitely today I'm going to do that. All I'm going to do is I'm just going to put like a couple of bamboo stakes on the corners, and then I'll put some sort of string around it so they can just crawl around, and instead of trying to take over everything that I have around, they can just be guided with the bamboo trellis. But they look amazing. And my Luffas were started on the 18th of February. And I just love how easy they were to germinate. So it's my first year with Luffas. So these right here are my elephant ear corms that I am trying to wake up indoors. They're looking amazing. I put them here on the 22nd of February. And I have a few nuts here that have this sticky thing there. And look at this. This is the one that it's definitely buried about 2 inches below the soil. And it's doing amazing. You can see the little sprout there happening. I love that. Oh my goodness, this is probably the container that has the most for some reason. I don't know, these gnats are not coming around. I'm gonna have to come here with my vacuum cleaner and suck those suckers. So this right here is the one that it's kind of like at soil level because it was so tall, the corn was so tall. But look at that, I have a shoot here happening. And I have this guy right here. Just love that. And people ask me how much water you give them. It just kind of depends. If I see that the top is a little dry, I just kind of move and kind of dig a little bit. But if I feel like it's a little wetter, then I just leave them alone. And then I wait a couple of days. I don't really have to keep them wet the whole time, but you know, I just got to give them a little bit of moisture. And they're doing amazing. This right here is my ginger. It's doing amazing. Some of the leaves are drying out a little bit, and I have them with plenty of water because I know they love the water. The leaves are growing just quite well, nice and shaped. I don't know. I never had ginger, so I'm not really sure if I'm doing something wrong. And ginger was started, I bought the rhizomes at my local grocery store, and I put them in soil on the 14th of February. They sprouted, and I broke them into little spots here for their own containers about a few weeks later than that, and they are doing just amazing. Like I said, I have plenty of ginger plants here, and I don't know how well they'll do, but going to be just fine. And I did put this little guy here because it didn't have any sprouts, but it did have some roots, so I'm just gonna let it be there. And here I have a few things. I have some cosmos that I also started in the 3 1/4 inch soil blocks, and they were moved here because they were way too tall. I do have one scabiosa. That was the only one that germinated, and it's totally fine. I do have all of my types of amaranth here. This one is red spike amaranth. This is the one that I grew last year, and it's just amazing there. And this right here is coral fountain amaranth. So all of these right here are amaranth and cosmos and one scabiosa. Okay, so now let's move on with my nasturtiums. I am starting 3 varieties of nasturtiums this year. I put the seeds yesterday in water so they can soak and they can have as much moisture as they can get. Nasturtiums for me are a little bit hard to thin, so I am always at the end of the season ending up with tons of nasturtiums. So fingers crossed, I am trying to do better this year. We'll see how it goes. But what I'm going to do, I already have the color-coded here containers. These are the regular 6-pack for the 72 size containers. I have the names already, the labels. I use regular masking tape and the very thin one. And I'm just basically going to try to do 1 seed per block. And like in this case, I'm just going to do 2 in a couple, and I'm just going to push them gently, not too deep, and I am just going to cover them with the soil there, just like that. And I already got my potting mix. This is regular potting mix. If you want to start them in seed starting mix, that's fine too, whatever works for you. I just had this one already there, so might as well use it. So I already started with my potting mix a little bit wet so that I am not dealing with dry mediums. And this right here, I have I want to get at least 6 plants of my out of Africa nasturtium, and I put in 3 of them, I put 2 seeds, so we'll see if they make it. And right here, I got Whirly Bird Rose. I love pink. If you've been here for a bit, you know that I love pink. Okay, So I am going to go with 1 seed per container, but I know that I have enough seeds to do 2 seeds in a couple of them, just in case. Yeah. So all I do is just push them in a little bit, and then I'm just going to cover with the potting soil. That's all there is to it. These containers are going to go straight under my LED lights, just so they're there and I don't miss when they sprout. So that's what happened with my dill. It was on a shelf that it didn't have any lights on, and I missed when they sprouted, and I guess they were a whole day without lights and they were sprouting, they were reaching for the light. That's why they were way too leggy. So these are going to go straight under my shells right there. I have one more. And that's that. I have my nasturtiums already ready to germinate. I'm gonna put them in a tray and I will put them on my shelves, and that's it for my nasturtiums. Okay, so I already have my tomatoes. They are ready to be potted up and they are looking amazing, they're looking strong, so I am hoping that I can show you how to do that. It's super easy, but if this is your first time growing tomatoes or any other plant from seed, sometimes it is helpful just to see how somebody else does it. I don't know, that's at least my experience. So I started these tomatoes, I started them in something like this. These were the size that I started them. And I just wanted to get them to germinate. I didn't care how big the container was, I just wanted to get them to germinate. They did. And if you remember, I only wanted 2 plants. I only wanted 2 of these guys to start early. There weren't that many, but of course, all of the seeds germinated because they were older seeds. I put extra seeds in there. So I got 6 plants. I couldn't get myself to kill the rest, so I got 6 plants total. They are huge and they're taking a lot of space, but that's okay. So from this size, they went into this size, into the 2-inch containers. Basically 2-inch means that 2-inch this way, 2-inch this way. They have been doing great here. These tomatoes were started on the 14th of February, so they have been here for definitely longer than a month, and they need to be potted up. Look at the root system of that. Isn't that amazing? I just love that. So what I'm going to do, what I'm going to be using now are these 3.5-inch containers. So 3.5 inch, 3.5 inch, 3.5, 3.5. But they are 5 inches tall, which I love, because one thing about tomatoes is that they like to be they like to be planted deep. So the deeper that you plant them, the more chance they have to grow roots along the stems. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to remove the stems or the leaves that I have growing there, right about there. And this part is going to be touching the soil because it's going to be in the tall containers, and this is why I love these containers to use for my tomatoes, because they're tall. So all of this part of the stem is going to have a chance to grow roots, basically. So what I should do, I'm just going to put a little bit of soil at the bottom there, just a little bit. And this tomato is going to go there. So right here, I have my tomato with more room to grow. It is nice and deep. This is just regular potting mix, whatever kind you use. and they are going to be here for a couple more weeks or so, depending how well the roots do. And because I know that once you start things early, especially tomatoes, and if you have them somewhere nice and warm, they are going to take off, okay? They're just going to go wild. And I am prepared. I already got my bigger containers, just in case they need to be potted up a little bit more. So these will eventually go into here. They're not too much taller, but they're definitely wider. And that extra room can keep your tomatoes happy for a couple more weeks if they need to be. So I'm just going to leave them there. By the way, I got these from Bootstrap Farmer. They are their 5-inch container, just means 5 inch. And I believe they're 6-inch tall. I'll put the right measurements on the screen. So I am going to continue doing this for the rest of my tomatoes, and I will show you at the end how everything looks. So this right here is my dill that I started on the 9th of March. Definitely they need to be potted up. They have been here almost a month on these 2-inch soil blocks. I started with 4 seeds on the dill on each soil block, but I thinned them out to 2 plants per block. And I know that the roots are already going crazy. I don't know if you can see that, but they definitely need to be potted up soon. So I am going to use these tall containers because I don't want to move them here before they are ready to be transplanted outside. These are 3.5-inch containers by 5-inch tall. So I got this from Amazon. The last time that I checked, I think I checked this week because I wanted to order a few more. They were out, they were unavailable, but I'm hoping that they bring them back because I love how they're 3.5-inch, but they are definitely tall. So if you want something to, you know, have roots, these are definitely perfect for that. So basically what I'm going to do, I already have potting mix there. Just regular potting mix works. If you have a favorite type, just use that. And because these plants are a little bit leggy, I am just going to go and plant them a little bit deeper than normal. And all I'm going to do is I am just going to grab this block. Just make sure that I have there. And I'm going to put it there, just like that. The soil is just sitting nicely there. I'm going to get my potting mix all around it, nice and tight, but not too tight. And then I'm just going to cover the other sides with soil, with potting mix. And then hopefully they like this. Hopefully they do well here. And that's that. That's how I have this dill ready here in about a month or so to get it outside. And worst case scenario, if this dill goes crazy, that the roots are just, like going wild, that they're running out of space, that I can just easily get one of these 5-inch containers that I can just put in here. They're only about 1 inch taller. They're 6-inch tall by 5-inch wide here, but they definitely have room more on the outside if I wanted to put something in there for a couple more weeks or so. I don't think that's going to be the case with dill, but you never know. So this is how I'm going to do the rest of the dill, and I'll show you here in a minute how everything looks like. But that's really about it for this video, you guys. I hope that it was helpful. If you have any questions again about how I started some things here, I have a lot of videos on that from this year, from 2022, about how I started my seeds, my plants from seeds. So feel free to check those, but if you still have any questions, just let me know in the comments and I'll do my best to answer them quickly. Thank you, and until the next time.